perhaps I was too harsh on the Blackwell architecture. After all, I did bottleneck it with PCIe 3.0 during the RX 6600 battle, so maybe let's give this another chance. Hold on, that's not the 4060. That's the 6060. The GTX 660, a card that was released in, I don't know, 2012. This thing is almost as old as me. I was like a wee baby when this thing was out and brand new. But now it's a dinosaur around, I don't know, 14 years old? No, that's 2026. 13 years old. Okay, let's say 13. I could be wrong, I could be right. Go bully me if you think I did the math wrong. This is a 13-year-old card, and it's old. And we're gonna be torturing it with 1440p gaming. Yep, you heard that right. Poor old card. Forced to run at 1440p. But enough about that. Let's talk about the card itself. Single 6-pin. That means it might not. So that means it requires external power. Not a good budget option. If you have a low-profile system. But I talk about low-profile systems as if everyone owns that. So that's so-so. SLI fingers if you plan to get two and try out SLI. And this is actually the problem for some mid-range cards. Every single lane is populated. But then again, looking up PCIe 4.0 and 5.0 speeds, they don't need to use all of them. Although it would be nicer if they did, because if you're gonna plan it into an older board, you're gonna need every lane you got, because you might not have the luxury of PCIe 4.0. But the difference is negligible from looking at some benchmarks. Unless you're running the RX 6500 XT. But I don't have that card, and we're talking about this one, so let's get to the testing. In Team Fortress 2, we have... In Team Fortress 2, 1440p widescreen, because I am too poor to afford a 1440p monitor, and this is what I have that is close to 1440p. In Team Fortress 2, we have some stable FPS. That is to be expected. This game came out 2007, and this GPU is actually younger than that. So that means we got no lag at all. Uh-oh. Ooh, spy. But anyways, why am I filming on the camera? Why not the capture card? Well, if you wouldn't believe me if I said this, but my capture card does not support 1440p. At least, it does not support 1440p widescreen, which is what this monitor is. And I'm panicking on Team Fortress 2, so that's why I'm struggling to talk. I haven't really talked while gaming at the same time a lot, because I'm not very good at multitasking, but it's a start. Well, we can see on the... Well, maybe you won't be able to see on the camera, but I can see it. The GTX 6060 is having worse temperatures than the 980. This is not an NVIDIA design flaw, even though I really want to say it is. It is the trusty dried thermal paste under that cooler. Blower style cards are not very good at keeping temps cool. I mean, if you're a laptop user, this is fine. But this is a desktop GTX 6060, not a laptop 980, so let's repaste it after this one. If the camera could focus, you could see that the Forza Horizon 5 has given us a warning about the drivers, the graphics card not supporting the instruction set. But we're gonna see what happens anyways. And it crashed. Okay, so the minimum you need to play Forza Horizon is a 700 series. So let's play Sims instead. What? And in The Sims, I'm too lazy to play her now, so The Sims is just gonna sleep. In The Sims, we have a staggering piss poor performance. Man. At least our GPU temps are... No, they're not better than 980. At all. Nope, not even a little bit. And also the GPU's connection with the HDMI port is pretty shit too. So it's a miracle. Well, that it's even holding together. And I'm sounding like the good doctor. 3! Our 1% low is 3! That's how bad it is. And not to mention, Sims 4 is DirectX 9, so if you're running a GTX 6060 and plan to play a little Sims 4, I'm gonna have to tell you something. You might want to set your graphics settings to low. After turning down the settings to ultra low, we are getting stable 60 FPS in the Sims. Yeah, this is not a livable experience. Let's change that. After that quick refresh, we can clearly see an average change. Not only is my Sim not wearing any pants, but probably just a nap, that our house lacks a TV, and that the GPU is not pegged at 100. Which means, yes, you can play Sims on medium settings, but this is The Sims, and it would be pretty embarrassing if for any computer component and that's older than the GT 6060, or no, it would be embarrassing for any computer part that's younger than the GTX 1660 to not be able to play. Let's give this woman a house. She might appear in future episodes if anyone actually likes Sims 4 benchmarking. In widescreen 1440p Portal 1, we get a solid FPS that a card from 2012 should be able to run a 2007 kind of performance. It would be surprising if Portal didn't run, but seeing as this card has is the 60 class of GTX and supports Windows 11, I guess. There's not much to go off of. I'm literally looking up Tech Power Up as we talk. This card is hot, and I don't mean hot because it looks good. Hot as in it looks bad. Well, the EVGA version of the GTX 6060 looks good, but this is the Dell variant, and a blower style of that too. The thing with blower style cards is that they tend to get hot. Originally, I thought the reason why my GTX 980, my blower style 980 got hot was because, what was I gonna say? Was because it's a 980 it's an old flagship. It's gonna get hot. But then here we have the 6060 proving that it's just blower style design being hot because we're hovering around 72 Celsius at 50% utilization. I know. Older design, maybe, and smaller cooler compared to the massiveness of nowadays coolers. But it'd still be nice to have a open air on these older cards, no matter how rare they are, for an open air design on these age of cards. Well, obviously Portal is not squeezing this to choking methods, so let's move on to the next game. In World of Warships 1440p, our little 6060 does well. Why? I have no clue. And for some reason I can't seem to increase the VRAM usage. Submarines. Bane of existence. This could be a factor of a few things because, from my knowledge, NVIDIA cards tend to use less VRAM, which is a not good thing, because just because you're using less doesn't mean you're having a better time. I mean, this whole NVIDIA uses less VRAM in games thing could be helpful for something like the 3058 gig, but that doesn't exist anymore, at least in production. And the 4060 should have came with 12 gigabytes. But its 128-bit bus doesn't allow that. The 960 does have 16 gigabytes. Keyword does, because it also has a 3. Holy hell, I was having a moment. Because it also has an 8 gigabyte version of itself, meaning that if some little Timmy were to go get a graphics card and look up reviews, the reviews would recommend the 980, that doesn't exist, the 960 XT. The problem goes is that they only look up the 960 XT. Not 8 gig, not 16 gig, just that. And obviously the 960 XT 8 gig is going to be cheaper than the 16 gig because less memory means less cost. If only that applied to the 5060. But anyways, World of Warships, what was I saying? Well, yeah, World of Warships 1440p widescreen, and we're doing a solid above 60. This thing will run on most hardware, I think. I actually used to play lots of World of Warships in the GT710. Obviously, it was in piss poor settings, but still, that's a 710. Final thoughts. Well, it's a niche card, but I definitely won't recommend it in 2025. If you already have one, I say you should upgrade to a used 20 series if you have the budget, a 30 series if you have a bigger budget. Basically, just upgrade to an RTX card. We have hit the point in time where GTX cards shouldn't be really considered much. As much as I've been denying it, RT has becoming more of a necessity now. And now with games starting to just just having it permanently on in certain settings, it seems like RT cores are actually necessary now. Maxwell is dying this year. Well, I actually don't know if the 980 is Maxwell. Maxwell's dying this year, and so is the 10 series because I forgot their architecture name. This is legacy support. That doesn't. So I couldn't even play Forza Horizon on this. So big legacy support. And other thoughts about the card. This particular model, it's a Dell variant. So that means it was pulled out of a workstation and used, and probably used for, I don't know, work purposes, YouTube, whatever required a graphics card in a Dell. Funny thing is, in one of this HDMI slot was another funny thing is we're missing our DVI our little DVI hooks. But that shouldn't be worried. We have the other one, and nobody should be using DVI in this day and age. Well, as much as I like this card, and it's a bit bad in terms of cooler design. Okay, that is to be expected for an OEM card. But blower style cards in general are kind of not great. They're great in when you need optimum airflow with, like, you need your air to exhaust at the back. So I know some of the newer Founder Editions cards are exhaust at the back, but that's a Founders Edition, so yeah, that doesn't apply. But blower style cards in general just tend to be, well, a little louder than open air, and also a little hotter than open air. So, unless you're having a workstation, like a HP Z series, then I recommend going with something like this. These two. But if you can find one for sale, I'd go for an open air. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you want to. And bye-bye.